Hey everyone, welcome to the NFL video. This one we're going over my favorite value plays for Week 6 of the NFL season on Draftkings. Because guess what? We cannot fit in guys like Alvin Kamara, Patrick Mahomes, Julio Jones, Travis Kelce without fitting in some of these low-priced value plays. So anyway, before we continue, if you could leave a like, if you're new to the channel, please hit that subscribe button. It really helps me out. I really appreciate it. You can also follow me on Twitter at ChrisPinell16. And if you're interested in the spreadsheets I build every single week, links in the description below for my Patreon. And let's get right into it. We're pretty much going to talk about 2 to 3 guys per position. So let's start off with Kirk Cousins at 5,200, and I think he's a fantastic value play this week at quarterback. So let's talk about the negatives about him first. So this is a very run-heavy offense. He's only averaging 208 passing yards per game, and the second lowest pass attempts per game at only 25. So why do we like him? Well, he's coming off his best outing of the year versus New York after the media fiasco about the passing game with Adam Thielen and Stephon Diggs. He threw for over 300 yards and 2 touchdowns in a very soft matchup. And I think we see more of the same versus Philly, as they have a stout run defense that's ranked 4th DVOA in the league and only giving up 19 points per game. Philly's going to want to shut down Dalvin Cook. And I know that's easier said than done, but they're going to make Cousins beat them. They're probably going to make a point of emphasis to stop Dalvin Cook and let Kirk Cousins try to beat them, which I think he can. I don't think he's going to go off by any means, but that doesn't mean he can't hit value at this price tag. Philly is allowing 280 passing yards per game, which is third highest on the slate, nearly 2 passing touchdowns per game. The defense should funnel them to a more pass-heavy attack, and the secondary is definitely beatable, and he has the weapons to do it with Adam Thielen, Stephon Diggs, and Dalvin Cook out of the backfield as well. So I do like Kirk Cousins if you need to save some salary at quarterback, which tends to be a smart strategy. I'm really going to try to get up to Matt Ryan this week, but if I have to punt quarterback, I'm liking the Kirk Cousins train. Then another guy, if you need to save even a little bit more, we got Gardner Minshew. I'm not trying to build a lineup. We have Gardner Minshew at 5K even. So Minshew magic. He's actually worth a shot this week versus New Orleans, who are elite versus the run, but struggle versus the pass, as they are 20th DVOA through the air. They're giving up over 24 Draftkings points per game to quarterbacks, over 275 passing yards, and 1.6 touchdowns per game. Minshew has actually been very solid this season, and every single week for his price tag this season, scoring 18 points, 17, 17, 16, 27 last week. You don't need much of this price tag, and if he can throw 2 touchdowns and get over 200 yards, you'll be sitting pretty at only 5K, and I think he can do it in this matchup. I really can't see the Jaguars getting up to a big lead. I mean, I know the Vegas spread's pretty close. It's not going to be a high-scoring game, but I think Minshew can just get the job done here, and chances are they do fall behind versus the Saints. I mean, they're a much better team. So Julie Gardner Minshew should be able to get you over 15 points, which you'll be pretty happy about at 5K. At the running back position, I never really recommend punting the running back spot. This is where I usually like to spend up to get the safe commodities. But if you do need to save some salary, let's talk about Kenyan Drake first at 4,400. So I hate recommending any Dolphins or Redskins players, but unfortunately when two teams face off with horrific defenses, there's going to be some value no matter how bad the offenses are. Someone's going to score some points here, something's going to give. And I know Drake's only averaging 7 carries a game, but Miami also tends to get boat raced out of most games, making it so they can't focus on the run and they have to throw the ball. Well, we might actually get a close game here, and hey, they might even win the game, as crazy as it sounds. They're only 3.5-point dogs at home, meaning this could be their first competitive game versus the NFC's dumpster fire. They're pretty much the Miami version in the NFC. They're the Washington Redskins. The Redskins are 18th DVOA versus the run this season, and they're allowing 28.8 points per game and over 110 rushing yards per game. So I do think Kenyan Drake can get the job done. Now, I know the Dolphins just have been completely bad, but he did score 10 points week 4 versus LA, 9 points week 3 versus Dallas, 9.8 points versus New England. Versus Washington, I think he can get you double-digit points, maybe even get 15. If he finds the end zone, I think you're going to be pretty darn happy, as he's yet to do that this season, as pretty much the Dolphins have struggled to score in all aspects. So don't mind Kenyan Drake as a salary relief option. Then in the same game, Adrian Peterson at 4,500. He's on the other side of the ball, and so AP, he finds himself in an even better matchup than Drake, as Miami is getting absolutely shredded on the ground this season. They're allowing the second most points per game to running backs with an insane 38.9 points per game. They're also allowing over 150 yards rushing per game, which is by far the most, and over a touchdown. So like I said with Drake, these two teams are usually in the bad end of blowouts, so they tend to get games scripted out. And as for Adrian Peterson's case, when that happens, Chris Thompson becomes the guy. Well, the Redskins, they're actually miraculously 3.5-point favorites, which makes me think AP might be in play here. If Washington plays with a lead and he falls into the end zone, you're going to be pretty happy about this price. If he gets you about 15, maybe close to 20 touches and gets into the end zone, I think you're probably looking at a big game for Adrian Peterson at only 4,500. Now, I'm not saying he's going to get like some 20-some points, but I think he's a safe bet for double-digit points this week at only 4,500. And then that's really all I was going to talk about, but David Johnson did miss practice today, and I know it's only Wednesday, so I'll have to monitor throughout the week. But if he ends up missing, Chase Edmunds becomes an excellent value play at 4,600. You know, the Falcons are notoriously always bad versus running back position. Now, they've been better this season, but still, it's going to be a lot of points scored in this game. Chase Edmunds had a pretty good game last week versus Cincy, which is a very favorable matchup. Broke off that long 37-yard touchdown. So if David Johnson ends up missing, Chase Edmunds is going to be one of the more popular plays on the slate, and he's probably going to be a good cash game guy as well. All right, so as for the wide receiver position, so I try to stay under the 5K range. There's some like guys that are hovering right above 5K that I like Christian Kirk if he ends up playing. G.D. Westbrook's in a good spot versus P.J. Williams in the slot. And there's some other guys too, DJ Chark's 5,500. But I try to stay below 5K, so we're going to stay true to that. We're going to talk about Mohamed Sanu at 4,500 first. I actually like him a ton this week, so I got a lot to say about Mohamed Sanu. Now, he's never an exciting play, but I do think he offers us a pretty safe floor this week versus Arizona, one of the highest Vegas totals on the slate, and it's a close spread, so it should be pretty back and forth. Now, he's on the field a ton. He played 83% of the snaps last week, and just looking at his game log, he's been solid this year, scoring double-digit points in every single week but one so far. And Arizona is 27th DVOA versus the pass, and are allowing 36 points per game to receivers, which doesn't sound super exciting, but that's mainly because of how bad they are versus the tight end position. But another thing people may overlook is they're completely garbage versus slot receivers this season, allowing the most points per game to slot receivers, tied with Pittsburgh at 31.9 points per game. And guess what? Sanu plays in the slot 86% of the time. Everything lines up for him to have success this week, and he should have lower ownership with everyone on Julio and Hooper. So I love Mohamed Sanu. I think he's a very safe play, and I think he's got some good amount of upside this week. I think we might see something more close to that Tennessee game where he had 12 targets, 9 catches for 91 yards, not getting to the end zone, but I think we're in for a pretty good day for Mohamed Sanu at only 4,500. Next I want to talk about is Preston Williams at 4,100. I know it's another Dolphins, and I hate recommending this many Miami Dolphins players and Redskins players, but here we go. The Redskins are getting killed by receivers this season, allowing a massive 45.8 points per game to the wide receiver position, 171 receiving yards, and 1.8 touchdowns per game. Someone's got to catch the ball here, and Preston is actually involved in the offense, averaging over 7 targets per game and owns a 22% target share. He does own an ugly 51% catch percentage, but hey, it's still better than his teammate Devontae Parker, and I think Preston Williams is a fantastic value play at only 4,100 this weekend. And then the last receiver I want to talk about is Jameson Crowder at 4K. So the main thing here is that Sam Darnold is back, and the Jets are priced like the peanut guy is leading the offense this week. Now this is a brutal matchup, but chances are Jets have to play catch-up, and Crowder will be a target hog pretty much. Week 1 in a tough matchup versus Buffalo, Darnold peppered him with targets. He got a massive 17 to be exact, and he actually caught 14 of them for a huge 99 yards. Still, that's just fine for PPR, and he's dirt cheap with an upgrade at quarterback this week. Also, Darnold loves throwing to slot receivers. He threw to them 35% of the time last season, which was 5th most in the entire league. So it's a bad matchup, but volume at 4K, I will take it. Now, I'm not saying he's going to get 17 targets, but I do think he's near that 10 target range. So I will take that, especially if they're in catch-up mode. If he falls into the end zone, I think you're in a pretty good day at 4K, and he is popping up as one of the best values in my sheet this week. And as for the tight end position, it's absolutely brutal. I'm playing Austin Hooper this week. I don't care that he's chalk. I'm not going to pivot off of him. I know George Kittle's right there, but I'm playing Austin Hooper. If he fails, he fails. I'm just playing him this week. There's no getting around that. I will find room for it. And there's just no one I want to play. Gerald Everett's coming off a big week, but I don't really want to play Tyler Eifert. Chris Herndon's hurt. Jared Cook. I don't really want to play any of these guys. I mean, Noah Fant's fine. I don't love it, though. It's kind of an above-average matchup versus Tennessee. But other than that, it's really about it. Maybe Delaney Walker at 3,700. And I hate all these low-end tight ends. So I'm just making it a point to get Austin Hooper this week. If you want to pivot to George Kittle, I mean, whatever. But I'm playing Austin Hooper. I'm not going to really look to punt any of these tight ends, anyone in the tight end position this week. And as for the defenses, I mean, we got some really cheap defenses this week, and I'll just tell you right now, my sheet, which has actually been pretty good at nailing these cheap defenses this week, it's like the Steelers, Panthers, consecutive weeks, and I'll tell you right now, it likes the Jets. I mean, obviously, they're only 1,500. If they get 3 points, you're probably not too upset. So it does like the Jets. It likes the Jaguars as well, even though they're going up against New Orleans. They're playing at home, though, Teddy Bridgewater-led offense. So it does like the Jaguars. And it also likes the Bengals. They're only 1,700. It's, I don't really personally like them. I'm just telling you what, value-wise. I mean, there's a chance they go negative, but, Lamar Jackson has not looked that impressive the past few weeks. But, Cincy, I mean, that kind of sounds like a recipe for disaster. But I do like the Jets at 1,500. I mean, they pretty much open up your entire lineup, and you can get some other guys in. As long as no other defenses go off, I mean, you're probably going to be fine if they get you 2-3 points. Because really, defense should not break a slate unless it's like the Patriots or Eagles getting 40 points. Then maybe it does break a slate. But I don't mind punting defense this week with someone like the Jets, Bengals, or Jaguars. Anyway, guys, that's going to be it for this video. Remember to leave a like. And if you're new to the channel, please hit that subscribe button. It really helps me out. I really appreciate it. Follow me on Twitter at ChrisPennell16. Links in the description below for my spreadsheets. And check out the Core Plays video. That's my favorite video I put out every single week. And it seems to be everyone else's favorite too. So check them out. And I'll see you guys in the next